All right, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. This is Ken Boone with Whiskey Wednesday Weekly. I'm your host, and this week we have a pretty cool guest, only because he has been a part of my family's development for about 3.5, 4 years. I think you guys might remember. I brought him up last week on Josh's episode. Mark Flynn. He was our family's black belt instructor for a good, I think, the entire time. Yeah, 3.5 years. Obviously, the location or where we got our black belt was from Eldred's studio. Is that what it's called? Eldred's Taekwondo? Eldred's School of Martial Arts down in Escondido. But he was kind of the primary one. I mean, they all chipped in. All the instructors were amazing. Obviously, Mr. Eldred has to be the one that really trained you in the end.
Yes, he is.
But we all took a liking to Mark just because he was such a good guy and really took the time with the boys and Brooke to kind of walk us through some of the hard. And he was like more my competitive, like he was my size.
Yeah, we had
kind of
fun
like my build.
sparring.
Yeah.
Good,
I mean,
man.
it was like kind of like he was beating up his father, basically. What he was doing. We got a little bit of a gap there, so he's like, "Oh, I never get to hit my dad, but I'll sure hit this guy."
He could kick though.
Yeah.
He could kick.
I had a few. It was decent. It was fun. But that being said, please, guys, at the beginning, if you guys could like and subscribe to the channel, there should be a little subscribe button down in the corner, or obviously at the bottom. Please add any comments and all that good stuff. We love what you guys say about it. So this week we'll get right into it. Welcome, Mark. By the way.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Mark obviously introduced Josh and me, myself, about 6-8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Put us in the link and said, hey, I think he'd be a good guy. And ever since then, me and Josh have communicated well. He's been a good interview, and he's a good guy. So I appreciate that lead. But that being said, I also thought that your story would be cool to have on here as well. He's like, I'd love to do it. You're talking whiskey, and then he brought some beer this week. He brought some of his favorite beer from Rincon Brewery. Where's that, Ventura?
It's in Ventura.
Okay.
It's like kind of in Ventura proper, and we don't live too far from it, and it's definitely one we frequent a lot and enjoy.
So you invest a little into it.
We invest a little bit into it and stuff.
You're like, hey, and not behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You're just a beer drinker.
Yes,
so.
exactly.
That's awesome. Well, this week I actually do have an official sponsor. Tyler Boone and I have had a pretty good relationship, so I told him I'm going to start I asked him if he would be my official sponsor for every episode, and he said, of course, he would love that. So we love all the whiskeys we drink, but Boone's Bourbon being the name, and even though we're not officially associated my personal self or any kind of financial link, he just has a great story, and I continue to want to support him and his business and his whiskey and his music. So if you guys haven't reached out to do that, go ahead and check out boonsbourbon.com. Or he's pretty much in every store at this point. Bevmo, Total Wine, all across the country. So let's get right into Mark's story, though. So give me just a quick 2-minute synopsis of you, real quick. Like, where you're from, your childhood, little brief background.
So, I grew up, Ken, in Vista.
Okay.
And I was born at Tri-City Hospital.
Vista's in San Diego area.
Yeah, Vista's in San Diego.
He's a local kid.
I'm a local guy. I pretty much grew up my whole life here in Escondido until I was 25. From there, I grew up with my mom, my dad, and I was an only child.
Okay, so I was gonna say you were an only child, which I don't have any reference to that in my kids, so it's always interesting to meet only children, just because some don't turn out the same way and some turn out completely different, right?
It's true. My mom came from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, about 1989. I was born 1990.
Okay.
So
Rio de Janeiro, man, that place sounds so fun. Every time you always hear about it. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Brazil. I've been to South America, but never to the actual Brazil or Rio. It's like a giant party they talk about.
And we want to. My wife and I want to go all the time, so we hope to someday.
Oh, you haven't been?
We haven't been.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
No.
Now, is your mom not living here today? I mean, not back at home?
No, she's never returned and stuff.
Oh, really?
She actually hasn't. No.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay. So she's not. Is her family from that side?
Oh yeah. I mean most of my whole family.
Okay.
I talk to them on Skype or Zoom, but my grandma came out here a lot when I was a kid.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, let's get right into it. We're going to do our first shot today. And what's ironic, Mark supported. He goes, I brought a whiskey. Pulls it out, and it's the exact same bottle we have here today, Basil Hayden, which is my wife's absolute favorite. She likes the rye and the traditional as well. But did you guys bring this because you like it, or did you just...
Yeah, my neighbor, actually, his name's Levi, and he gave me a taste of recently, and I was like, this is really good.
It is.
And
I
looked it up, and I was like, well, I might need to bring this over to Ken.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he already has it. So.
He felt like he was like, I got something.
I got something.
At least support it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no, man. I would have used your bottle if I didn't already have it sitting here, but I'm like, nah, I don't feel it. That was just so cool that you brought this out.
Same one.
All right, well, cheers.
All right,
Let's
cheers.
taste the Basil Hayden. Let's see what you like. You said you already like it, so it's not a strange one
it's
for
not
you.
a strange one for me.
Oh, God, that's so good. It is really good.
It is. It goes down
it's just
so easy.
Smooth, but it's very, very good. It's very, very good.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It really is.
So we'll definitely knock this back as we taste. Now, let's get right into your story. You talk about living up in Southern California, your mom, dad, all the traditional kind of sounds like it's all good, right?
Yeah.
So you told me a little bit, though, that at about 20 years old, they got divorced. Is that right?
That is, unfortunately, they grew apart.
Sure.
Had different feelings at the end of their life, and they're really both in a really happy place now.
Right.
But at that time, they split. My mom, she worked her way up. She's a I don't want to say babysitter. It's like an au pair.
Okay.
That's the term.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
term.
Totally.
And she went through a company, and she actually the show 2.5 Men. She au paired for like the director's son. So took care of him up there, and then she ended up going to San Francisco.
Nice.
And met her boyfriend, I guess.
Okay.
Is the term right now. I think they want to pursue more from what I understand. But his name's Tom, and they developed a relationship, and they live up there in Half Moon Bay, which is funny. That's where Josh and Georgie were.
Right. Because he brought that up, which was hilarious. Because I'm like, dude, that place is supposed to be amazing. He said it's like super expensive up there.
Yeah, the Ritz-Carlton there.
Yeah.
Best place to have a whiskey and look out there, but to buy a room that night, oh God.
You're like, don't drink. You might as well just plan on calling an Uber unless you want like $800 a night or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unreal. Well, your father was a kind of a construction, what do you call it? Carpenter originally, right? But he ended up moving on to bigger and better things as well.
Yeah, when I was a kid, he was something they called a stacker.
Okay.
And his job was a lot of the homes and a lot of the tract developments you'll see in Temecula. And I'm trying to think of some out this way. But
I did Lath and Plaster for 2.5 years.
Okay.
Out track homes. So a stacker, was that the one that laid all the stuff out?
His job was, so all the trusses that would sit on top of roofs.
Right.
His job was to lay the truss and set it up. So he was a roofer, if you think of it that way, but not the roofing
Without
part.
the roof part.
Yeah, it's just the trusses.
The structural side. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, building that A-frame on top before they threw everything up.
And he did more houses in San Diego. There's a Santa Luz development that he put every house.
Oh, really?
The
San Alejo Hills?
Santa Luz is off of Ted Williams
Parkway.
Okay. That
Sorry.
one.
Yeah.
It's a big $1 million development, and just everything in between.
Nice.
I run into homes all the time when I'm driving Valley Center. I'm like, oh, I went with my dad and built that.
Yeah.
It was He would take me with me because we didn't have really good daycare system.
So he went on to be a general contractor, which then helped you guys out financially, and then you guys obviously you were able to do some stuff with that. But talk a little bit about your maybe in a minute or two what your experience was once they got divorced. Since you were older, how did that affect you, if at all, or were you just old enough to handle it at that time?
I was definitely old enough to handle it, but as a kid, you see your parents growing up, and then you see them split. It takes a toll on you for that minute. You're like, now that I'm really mature and I've really gotten past that time in my life, I can see the flaws that they had. The reasoning and just kind of those kinds of things. But now I understand that. But back then I was like, man, you guys should do marriage counseling. You should try this stuff.
Right, okay.
But now that I'm at where I am in my life, I can see that they had tried stuff.
Okay.
And it just wasn't right.
Right. Now, does that help affect you and your wife, Anna?
Yes.
I mean, is that like something where you're like, hey, this is what I don't want, or you kind of set,
Yes. When I married Anna, I knew right then and there. This is not a repeating thing.
Okay.
This is not that type of person.
Right.
I don't think it was for my mom and dad either.
Sure.
Things did develop and stuff. For me, marriage is sacred.
Right.
And I want to always stick it out.
There you
love
go.
Anna.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, that definitely goes without saying. It's just like you said, sometimes when children divorce see that, whether you're 20 or 12 or 8, sometimes it goes bad. Like, they don't ever want to be married or something like that, But in your case, it was more like, hey, I really want to be, this is not, it's not going to affect me that way. Good.
And marriage takes communication. It takes work.
Oh, yeah.
You have to put that in.
Yeah.
And stuff. Even on the best days, there'll be hard days.
Yeah, we just celebrated 25 years.
Congratulations.
Of marriage.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
it
see
was awesome.
that.
It was very cool.
That's cool.
So let's go, before we go into the next shot, let's go into a little bit about your age of teenagers. You said you played some high school sports, which is
Yeah.
kind of ordinary, right?
Mhm.
And then you, as a young child, though, had to kind of work early, right? You said around
I
16
did.
years old, you started working.
So, like 15 and a half, I'll never forget, my dad said, well, you want all this, you need all this, and we still really don't have the money all the time to get you a car and all that. You need to go work.
Right.
You need to go work.
Right.
He had an old 1969 F100, and he's like, I'll get it running
Mm-hmm.
enough for you to get to the job.
Right.
And back.
Got
and
it.
you got to put the gas and the insurance in.
Oh, wow, okay.
So-
That's like me. Mine was like, throw me to the wolves. Now it's a little different, even though I told the boys they got to work.
Yeah.
I do the insurance, and they have to pay for gas and stuff. But
Yeah, I didn't have a cell phone, nothing.
yeah.
And I just remember my dad gave me a newspaper, and we used to eat at a restaurant down the hills called Spires.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It got burned down.
My mom
Yeah,
worked
yeah,
there
yeah.
when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and it got burned down. And
rebuilt, yeah. That's funny, Spires.
yeah, Spires, and we would always eat
Love that
breakfast.
place.
Yeah, me and my dad would
Yeah.
eat breakfast there all the time when I was a kid.
Right,
It was like
right.
one of my fondest memories. He'd open his newspaper there, and he'd drink coffee, and I'd sit there with whatever kid thing I'd be playing
Right.
with at that time in my life. And I remember when I was 16, he's like, let's go to breakfast. And he's like, you want to do all this? Here's a newspaper, and gave me the ads.
Right.
Like, we don't even do ads.
Yeah,
these
sure,
days.
sure.
And he's like, golfing attendant. You could do that probably. And so I
So
cleaned.
you were a golf attendant.
I was golf
okay.
attendant at the Vineyard Golf Course in
Yeah,
Cypress
in
Point.
Escondido?
Yeah, in
Mhm.
Escondido.
Yeah.
I cleaned the carts, washed the clubs.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and picked up some golf too. And
Oh,
it was
good.
really fun. I would get to play like 9 holes every night.
Oh,
And
I didn't even know you golfed.
I did,
That's
and
cool.
I want to get back into it. I tell
Yeah.
Josh all the time.
Yeah.
I need to. So.
Well, you have a little kid now. So
I know it's
to
hard,
do.
but we'll get into
The
it.
hours, yeah, it's
It's
because
tough.
when you put 5 hours into golf, you're like,
Yeah.
I could be doing that with my family or something. Yeah,
Exactly, no.
and Anna's sure not. You're like, yeah, honey, go for 5 hours.
No. You remember little kids.
Oh yeah, believe me, my wife. She was cool, but I was like, I don't want to do that to her, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
There's way other more important things at the time. Now I'd go occasionally on a Sunday or something, but it was never like an avid golfer. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I'm starting to pick it up a little bit more now myself. So we'll get into another shot real quick before I get into the next part of your story, because I think the next part is kind of where we met and what that part of your life was. You know, because I know that was a big part of your life at
Yeah,
Eldridge,
Eldridge
for sure.
is huge.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and drink the Boone's Bourbon.
All right.
Now, you will experience a different flavor on this than what you tasted at Basil Hayden. First of all, it's 117 proof.
Oh wow.
So it is. It's got a little bit of a different flair to it, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But it did win. It's the number 6th in the country. It won gold medal in New York's tasting. I mean, it's gotten all these awards. It's really killing it.
That's awesome.
But I think it's based on the category it's in, right? It's a homegrown bourbon with a real rich alcohol content. So
Huh.
it's a one of its kind. It's not a very everyday bourbon you're gonna
Cheers
have.
to Tyler.
It's smelling a little different, huh?
Yeah, a lot different.
But it's
Wow.
still good.
It's still good.
It's still smooth. It's a whole different flavor than the Basil Hayden.
Yeah.
But consider the 117 proof.
Yeah, you can definitely,
Feel the difference.
Feel
yeah.
the difference with the first taste.
But I drink it all the time, so
I bet.
maybe it's just, I'm just saying it's getting better and better as I
Yeah.
drink it all the time. It's just like, and then on a cube, I don't like it hot. It's got to be a little bit of
I
ice.
love,
Yeah,
Josh got me into being at ice
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
because
and-
neat's hard sometimes. you know.
Yeah.
It pulls out certain flavors, but you got to have a little drop of water in certain ones for sure to break
just,
it up a little
Just
bit.
like golf, I'm a new whiskey drinker.
Uh-huh.
I've never got into it till recently,
Right.
to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and your show.
Yeah.
So
And it's like,
This
hey,
is
you're
the-
like, this is fun.
this is fun. I like this.
It is fun, actually.
Yeah.
So I know that you were older. You went through some other jobs. You mentioned working at the grocery store
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But when you really landed at Eldred's, how old were you at the time?
I started at Eldred's like right at 18.
Okay. And were you already into martial arts at that time?
I was. I
Okay.
started martial arts with actually Mrs. Eldred at the Boys and Girls Club in
Okay.
Escondido.
All right.
And I was about 6, 5.5 or
Mm.
6. So I was really young.
Right.
And my parents knew I needed some discipline. I needed some outlet for
The
my
typical,
energy.
like, hey,
Everything my
this
son
is
needs
the
right
reason,
now. That's
yeah.
why we're gearing him up for that. But he's only 4, so
Right.
we're getting there.
right.
And we got into it, and Mrs. Eldred and Mr. Eldred, they took me in from day one. It felt like family
Right.
and stuff, like a second family that was completely foreign to
Yeah.
me
Wow.
and stuff. And
Really?
yeah, to this day, Mr. Eldred's my second father.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the officiant at my wedding.
Right.
I mean, there's so much history between us.
Wow,
and
I
stuff
didn't know
in
that.
studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're telling me that before you were 18 working there, you had already gone through the whole thing, or was there a gap there of training at 6 to?
You know what? Between like 6 years old and 18, there might have been a gap, like like a year or so where like I was busy with some other sports.
Right.
But I always floated back. I always came back.
Okay. So
And, yeah.
why did martial arts at 6? It was just a thing. Your parents put you in.
Yeah.
But when did it become a passion? Like where you did MMA and all that good stuff and UFC, or was it just
when I was 18, I was into working out a little bit when I was younger, but when I was 18, I really wanted to drop weight. I wanted to really get good fighting shape. And I was just excited, and I always watched at that time between like 16 and 18 like UFC.
Okay.
I was in love with it.
Because that was kind of at the beginning of its early stages.
Early stage, and like
still knuckles and really not the same rules.
If you go into my office at work, or if you go into my garage at home, I have like Chuck Liddell posters. Like, the Iceman was everything to me. I saw his last fight, which I know he lost to Tito.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. He was like my
he's
hero.
He's older now.
Yeah, exactly. I've been to his kickboxing gym in San Luis Obispo.
Oh, okay, cool.
And
that was your passion.
That was passion.
It's like people loving baseball or football.
These guys are warriors stepping into the ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? Gladiators, if you think about it, competing at the highest level.
Right.
And to be honest with you, back then for nothing.
That's what I mean.
They were making pennies.
Yeah, real, just for fun bullshit.
This is because they love the sport.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't say that about football and basketball these days because these guys are multi-billionaires, contracts. But.
I'm sure they have a passion for it, but not the same level of a guy that was just like, I'm just going to go in here and beat someone's ass for nothing.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's not like they wanted to just fight. I mean, like it was more like a competition. You know, but like you said, they were making just a couple $100 or name recognition and just growing the sport, which is kind of cool because it did grow and develop to be one of the most popular sports today.
Awesome. I watch it all the time, any chance I get. Me and my friend Aldo, like we're big into it. We bet on it, everything.
Oh, it's like your sport, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
your Super Bowl.
It's my Super Bowl. Right. Anytime UFC's going on, it's our Super Bowl. That's my wife and I's Super Bowl.
Oh, well, good.
She loves it too.
Good, yeah. And I know Brooke and her fiance are the same way. He would always Saturday nights, the whole thing. It's a big deal, right? It's like his thing. So that's kind of funny. Now, 18. We met you when you were how old then?
18. You guys probably met me.
You were already a black belt.
I was already a black belt. I'm a 5th degree with Mr. Eldred. I can't remember the years in between now, but I'm a 5th degree black belt under Eldred's Taekwondo.
Oh, okay. So you were 5th degree under Eldred.
Under Eldred currently, right now.
Okay.
But not at that time. I think I was maybe a 2nd degree black belt.
Okay, so you kept working towards 5th degree.
The whole time.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay. Wow.
So, I've been doing it since I was 5.5.
Yeah.
And I still do it today. Poi Muay Thai in Ventura, I love it.
Okay, and what do? You practice there or do you work there?
It's I just practice there and stuff. They have a leadership program too, and Anna and I would probably be interested in it in the future where we could be like more involved with the studio, but just with our work and our kid and our schedule.
Yeah, I know.
We're just enjoying the training again and stuff.
Getting back into it.
Exactly, and I'm actually going to come out here to Carlsbad and sponsor one of the fighters in a few weeks, and he's fighting at the Carlsbad Boxing Club. His name's Brian, and
he's coming down from there.
From that gym, and I'm going to come down and meet him at that gym and help the coach hold pads, and I'm excited for him.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially if you watch him work with him and develop him. And
exactly.
Help,
I did a training camp with him, and I couldn't keep up with him, but to be honest with you, he's 25, and I'm 31, going to be 32 next year. I swear, you
realize how age is changing.
You can feel the kicks and stuff. Like, I can still do a lot of kicks and some fun stuff, but like, what 25 and 23 looks like, these guys that are fighting is it's a different gap.
It's unreal.
It's crazy.
You
probably remember sparring with me.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh, this
I want to kick
guys
this
like
guy's
kicking
ass.
me and moving around me. And now I think of that, I'm like, oh man, I'm that guy.
You're that guy. Yeah.
I'm the dad in the room now.
Well, see, the boys were 12 and they got black belts. They're 19 now, so it was 7 years. And then when we started, that took 3 years, so they were 9. So I was whatever. That was 10 years ago. So I was 39 years old.
You were 39.
Yeah, when I joined up. So I wasn't even your age then. You
were moving well for it.
It was funny because I was like, I want to do this, and then I was like, after the like sparring with you guys and like Eldred and those other guys, I was like, I didn't change my mind. I wanted to do it, but I'm like, damn, there is a huge...
Mr. Stone King,
big
guy.
Oh my God, that guy was so long.
I had some of my best fights with that guy because he was so hard to fight. It made you work to get inside. It was good.
Even though he was older.
Yes.
But he'd been doing it for so long.
Yes.
And he is so big and so long. Like you said, his reach was insane.
Crazy. Yeah. Mark was cool.
So let's so the Eldred experience. Obviously, you're still family and friends, and you're still part of that whole group. And Anna, how did you meet Anna there, though?
So
Because I know she just showed up one day as a student.
As a student, you know what? I'll tell the funny story with it all. After the golf course, I ended up working at the Henry's grocery store.
Okay.
Eventually became Sprouts and other things over
Okay.
the years.
Yep.
I remember her coming in. She remembers more of her coming into my grocery line, and I was the checker.
Okay.
And she saw, I saw she was wearing a UFC shirt, and I was like, oh, I love UFC.
Oh, you said that to her.
Yeah, I love UFC and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Right.
I wasn't really hitting on her. I had another girlfriend at the time.
No, but you were just
know
making
what
a comment. And
yeah,
she was cute. And
she
you were
was
like,
cute.
oh, I
was
love
like,
UFC, yeah.
And she kind of liked me, and she tells me to this day, like at that moment, she's like, oh, I hope I run into that guy.
Yeah.
But I actually told her, like, oh, if you like UFC, you might want to go over to this gym.
Okay.
Not the one I was training at, because at that time, I thought like, oh, she just wants to put like MMA gloves on and stuff.
Oh, right, because UFC, we
Yeah,
don't do that at time.
you know what I mean? It was more of a
yeah.
formal discipline, martial
Sure.
arts and stuff.
Right.
Now I know, like, everybody should start with a really good foundation
Correct.
and a basic.
Because at the time, you were 16, bro.
Yeah.
And at the time, UFC fighters, I mean, they came in with Taekwondo and all, and kickboxing and stuff.
Yes.
It wasn't just, but you were just like, oh, I realize that now that actually should have went where she went
Yeah,
to.
you got to hone in the basics,
Right.
and then you can become well-rounded
Right,
and do all
right.
that other stuff
Right.
and bring in the style. So she was there. I told her this, and then she still ended up finding Eldred's after I told her this other place. And then she saw me there, and she saw this other lady named Miss Felipe that was working there, Lori.
Miss Felipe.
And they started doing private lessons, and I saw her, and I always kept my eye on her.
Yeah.
As the years went on, timing just finally met each other.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So hold on, because I mean, she was there. It was like a while before she showed up in my journey. Like, I mean, like maybe halfway through. So maybe it was only like a year and a half for us or something like that.
She might have been in a different program than you at different times of the night. She was in late. She was going to college at SDSU.
So she was just running. Okay, because I'm like, dude, 16?
Yeah.
And then she comes, I mean, then...
Yeah, and I think she actually probably didn't step in there till I was like closer to like 17 or 18.
Okay.
And so like by the time I was 18, I think she actually like was
But
training.
you guys weren't dating yet.
No.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, we were in a whole different path of our life.
So when did you guys actually like date? 21?
When I was 21, so 2011, we finally just connected. Me and Lori, we all went out one night, and Lori invited her. And
it took 5 years
exactly.
from the UFC comment.
You know what I mean? And by then she was...
That's what's cool. Like, here you are, a grocery checker one day.
Yeah.
Or checking out bags and stuff, and she made a comment.
And I met my wife.
And then you're like, give her a whole other gym to go to, and she finds
she still finds me.
That's what I'm saying.
That's probably
that's more like the destiny route, right?
And stuff, and that's why I say.
And that's why I'm following it. You're telling it, but it's like if you don't really take a second to appreciate 5 years, before you actually start dating, and 3 years later you see her again or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
She shows up. It's wild.
So I just
Yeah.
That was just a great time in my life, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and it's
Yeah.
just cool. It's just a good story, like you said.
You had an amazing, not just that story of meeting your wife, but that whole Eldred experience. And when did you actually leave from Eldred? And I know why. We'll get into reason, your job, and all that. But when did you leave there? Was it 25 years old?
I was 25 years old that I got into law enforcement.
Okay. So you spent 7 years with Eldred as an employee?
As an employee, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And one thing with Mr. Eldred, which was amazing and stuff, and I always thank him to this day, and I can't wait to send him the show and tell him and remind him, but was that he always kept that door open for me to challenge myself with what I wanted for my future.
Right.
But always gave me a home base to be with him.
Sure.
He's like a second father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I made him my officiant at my wedding. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? There was anybody else that would always help me and stuff. I mean, I'll even say this. Like, I remember when Anna and I got our first apartment together, I needed money to put down on the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Eldred advanced me it.
Oh, wow.
I think he actually forgave some of it, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he advanced me on
Right,
that and put me in my first apartment.
That's
Anna
awesome.
Propelled me. I didn't have a full-time job yet.
Sure.
Anna was working full-time. We were working hard. And just... That was amazing. So to this day, Mr. Eldred holds a very special part
of course. Like that was that's a good one because I mean we look for those turning points and those people that make the change. And
he was that guy.
He was that guy. Yeah.
He's done it for a lot of people in this world. I can tell, but for me, those moments stand out.
That was what you're. Yeah, that was awesome. That's awesome. So we're gonna get into another whiskey real quick. This one you've probably never had. This one's called Knuckle Noggin.
Okay.
It is a butterscotch based. Salted caramel. Sorry. Do you like salted caramel?
I actually do every Christmas at Trader Joe's. They have those like salted caramel chocolates, and I love.
And I like the salted caramel Starbucks.
Oh
so, you'll actually this will be more of a sweeter, But what's funny about this one is it's still 35%, so it's still 70 proof, which is just, you know, short beyond your normal 80 proof. But I think you'll really like the saltiness. That's what I like about it. The caramel's great, but the salt's.
Wow, the smell on that. That's amazing smell.
Yeah, you might be buying a bottle of this.
Wow.
Isn't it good?
Dude, I like that.
It's not over sweet, right?
No, it's.
But the salt is in there.
I'm kind of a sweets kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a sweets kind of guy. So
right.
this right here, that's my downfall and stuff. You know
That's
what I mean?
your downfall.
I'm like, oh man, that's when I gain weight. Is the sweets. I kind of stop that.
Well, we just got back from Jamaica, so believe me, that's the only thing I don't usually eat sweets.
Gotcha.
But there, I had a dessert every night because I'm like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do the desserts. Right?
You can do the desserts and stuff.
Yeah, but no, you like that, huh?
I like that. I'm gonna have to write that one down. They
sell this at Costco, but they also sell it at most other stores now. Originally, it started at Costco, kind of like the one that is made in Carlsbad. The other one that's peanut butter.
Oh,
Screwball,
the peanut.
Screwball.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that started at Costco too when it really got real big. Yeah, well, it's in Carlsbad.
See, I like I told you, the whiskey
area.
Yeah, this
is
I'm getting like a lot of knowledge on it because I know a lot about beer because I've been around it.
And
like, you know what I mean? My bachelor party, I remember we did beer tasting
beer.
through all San Diego and stuff with Josh. And, you know what I mean? And
that was the thing. Yeah,
that was my thing then.
And beer's super good. I mean, just, you'll notice as you get older though. It's more filling.
Yes, and this
and you can definitely get a little bit more of a appreciation for the whiskey.
Exactly, I think Josh brought me into that. Yes, he really had.
You're gonna start losing weight when you drink whiskey.
I think so. Actually,
I think I'm gonna
have to give up my membership to Rincon Brewery.
Well, you gotta support your local people for sure. You just don't have to drink it all the time, right? But yeah, it's good stuff.
That's good.
So then I do remember. You talking about, I went to your college graduation, or your college, party that you had, and you got a degree in criminology, is that right?
Criminology and Justice Studies from Cal State.
And then from there you decided, this is what you wanted to do, and you applied a couple times, if I'm not mistaken. There was this whole struggle of applying and applying and applying.
Law enforcement, it's a competitive position.
Okay.
And there's a lot of agencies. You can go federal, you can go state, and I was an explorer for San Diego PD.
Okay.
And I really helped out a lot there. And, I applied for all these positions, and they take a long time.
What were you trying to be?
I was
a police officer.
I was trying to be a police officer foremost.
Okay.
And when I was applying, I either was one thing or another that would just delay the process and would take long. And to be honest with you, it was getting to that age after I needed money, I needed income to survive, and so finally one agency called me up, and I'll never forget this. They called me at home, and then they wrote me an email, and they said, we can station you, but you're going to have to move.
Right.
And you can go to Pelican Bay State Prison and be a correctional officer. And
I remember you telling me that day.
Yeah.
I mean, like, maybe not the day you got it because that was your first person, but I remember coming in and you were saying, I'm going to have to probably move because I got this letter, and because I kept asking you, how's it going?
Exactly.
And then you were like, it's because I'm older, right? So I'm like concerned, I'm like being the father,
you're
not
being
father,
the father
figure,
just
but I'm like asking
exactly.
like, hey, as a man, how's it going? And then you're like, I'm like, what? Oh my God.
I know. I was ecstatic because it was like that moment. I needed that moment to project myself to where I am today and be established and in a career field. And Anna was really supportive, and she got she booked flights, and she said, let's go see this area.
Wow.
And we went and we toured that whole area. I met somebody through the prison system that I knew through someone else, and we actually toured the institution I worked at.
Okay.
And I from there I was like, let's do this.
Wow.
And all of a sudden we became Oregonians.
Is that what you call them?
That's what you call them instead of California.
Oregonians.
We became Oregonians, but I still worked in California. That was the weirdest thing, to work in one state but live in another.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I worked for the Department of Corrections for California.
Oh,
which
but
the institution was on the border of Oregon and California.
Got it. Okay.
So I had the choice to live on either end.
Got it.
Ended up living as an Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but being part of California.
Because it was right there. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. That's kind of cool.
Isn't that? Yeah.
So it's better because you were probably paying a lot less to live, has taxes,
oh,
the whole thing.
It was so different.
You're like, I work in California, I get that, but I pay Oregon
little,
taxes.
Yeah, a lot of the guys up there know that. It's a really great thing.
Now, how long did that last, that stint?
I started there in 2015, and I left there in 2018 of June.
Okay.
So I promoted out and onto the streets, and it was a great experience what I learned with everybody in
Okay.
there and stuff.
So tell me a little bit about what it is to be a corrections officer there. Like, what were the 3 years like? I mean, does that mean you're working in a prison system?
Yes, you're working in the prison
Okay,
system.
okay.
You're a correctional officer. You're
You're the one that like goes around and you
You're
know, like lights out and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're supervising guys through their programs.
Sure,
You know what
sure.
I mean? And you're taking them to meetings within the institution.
Okay.
It's if you think about it, it's like a little city.
Sure.
And it's run with food and electricity and
Sure.
chow, and those guys all work and keep it going, and they're serving their time,
Yeah.
trying to get rehabilitated. California's really pushing that, and they're rehabilitating themselves, and they're getting their way out.
Now, how do you feel about what level of security was that one?
It was a
what-
max security.
Really?
Yeah, so it was a level 4 institution, so there was definitely, days of danger,
Really?
of course,
Okay.
you know, but the institution was an amazing institution, and the camaraderie and everything, and they were able to quell any issue that would ever come up.
Really? So
Yeah.
let me ask you, because I know a lot of people are curious, and I mean, I'll watch those shows, like, you know, all those prison
Yeah,
shows that are on
National
TV
Geographic
now and
Lockup,
stuff.
yeah.
But I know there's reality to those for sure.
Yes.
But they're also putting cameras on and stuff, and some people I feel like play up to that. But at the same time, I also feel like those guys, we know they're dangerous as hell. Some of them, right?
Of course.
Because they're not, they're reforming, but they're living their time, and they know some of them might not get out, and so they're like,
That's
hey,
true.
I need to survive in here.
Yeah.
Because at least this is my life.
Yes.
Right? Did you ever have a situation where you personally had to put your martial arts to test, or is it more like they just knew you were? Don't give me the scenario. Just say yes or no. I mean, was there something you actually had to be conflicted with?
Of course,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And if anything, of course that scenario came at times and
Okay.
stuff. I mean,
Got
it's hard not to.
No, that's what I mean. You do
But-
need that training.
But one thing that really always helped me with the martial arts is, believe it or not, I learned a lot of de-escalation
Right.
through martial arts.
Which
And,
is what it's designed to do,
It's
correct?
designed to do,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
really just talk to somebody and
Right.
like relate to them at that moment that they're stressed or
Okay.
they're having an issue, and not really
Not be on the offense.
offense. And I'll be honest with you, I can't share some of that
Sure,
stuff, but
of course.
some of the things that I've seen and I've done in my career have really at this point been successful with how I speak to someone,
Right.
how I talk to them,
Okay.
how genuine I am.
Sure.
And that's really what it comes
That's
down
what you
to.
need too. You're the one that really is trying to change someone or help someone by speaking them down
Yeah.
instead of being like, hey man, muscle up and do all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew sometimes you have to do it because it's your life or theirs, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the whole point of being a corrections officer is to correct.
Yes,
Not
and to help
necessarily-
these individuals go to society and be
Mhm.
successful.
Right, right.
And that's really what the mission statement is these
Okay.
days. And that's what they implored in us. And I just honestly think that I took that to heart, and I really tried to make that correction
Sure.
anytime I can for any of those individuals.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, so as a police officer, you'd have been
Same
on
thing
the
on the
good side
street.
too. You're supposed to be helping people.
Yeah.
And I know that's been a topic, during the pandemic and
Yeah.
everything. And I just feel like, I don't know where all those people are at, but I feel like that's an important thing to know that, they're there to help,
Yeah.
And I know some of them have different,
Yeah, things come up. And
It
stuff.
just
and I'm not-
happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can never speak on
But
that.
for you guys, like, that's what I mean. It's just,
Yeah.
you're a good one. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
I know there's a ton of good ones,
There's
because you
so
guys
many.
have to sign up and be a part of that. You know?
Yeah, my hats are always off to someone in law enforcement and
Yeah.
fire and anybody in public service.
Yeah, you said that's
not
kind
a-
of what you were looking
I
to do.
always wanted to help people. I always wanted to be in a role that, just like in martial arts, you're helping people achieve a goal.
Right, right.
And you know what I mean? I'm trying
That's
to circle
true.
back, and
Yeah.
achieve a goal in life. And I love just knowing that I can be part of somebody's goal.
Right.
And as a parole agent today, issues arise, things happen and stuff. But
Right.
I'll be honest, I really have always tried with this job to let people succeed and be able to do what they're going to do in their future.
Right, right.
And,
Wow.
and help them.
That's awesome. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring you on. I mean, not just because you're Mark and I know you, but, it's a different guest, and a lot of people, not just because of law enforcement, but just in your personal, the way you go about things, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's what Mr. Eldred saw, as a young man, and I think that's what Anna sees, and
Yeah.
saw that, you're a good guy and you really want to be, there for people. You
Yes.
know? And I know I always saw that, in the black belt, it's like, yeah, we're fighting and stuff, but you'd always take the time to figure out, like, what we need next. And like you said, I don't want you to, like, get to orange and quit.
Yeah.
You want people to really succeed and say, hey, I'm here to be a black belt, then let's get you there.
Exactly.
Right? Whether it's just, like for me, it was just, I just wanted to achieve it because I always wanted to do it as a young kid.
Yes.
Never got the chance. Life changed.
Exactly.
It was one of those goals. And oh, by the way, I want my 3 kids to learn this as well. Right?
Exactly.
And I want them to learn discipline and sticking stuff out. Right?
Exactly.
And so it was like you helped, and you helped a lot of people.
Perseverance is key in this world.
And
like, you know what I
the
mean?
key, right?
Like,
Pushing through.
You have to persevere in this world. If you don't persevere, if I could tell anything to my son, and in the future, one thing I love about your show is it's like recorded for life. I can share, is that perseverance is everything.
Right.
If you want something bad enough, you will get it.
Right.
It just takes time, and it takes hard work.
It takes work.
Hard work. Josh is a good example. I mean, you have to put the hours in and the time to get where you want and stuff.
Whether it's a job or just something like a black belt.
Exactly.
You can't just get it by showing up and signing up for it.
No, and especially, and even if you do, you want to advance or move or grow or get to the top of the pyramid or be happy with whatever segment you're in it, you have to show some initiative. You have to try. You have to put that time in.
Right. No, it's good, man. I love it because you're still a young guy. I mean, you said you're 31.
Yeah. I'm always hungry. I always want to change. The guys I know at work, I try. I put my best effort.
Right.
I'm not the smartest one. I'm not the fastest one on the reports. I'm not this. I'm not that.
I love that you said you're not the smartest. Not that you are, but like I'm not that way either. It's just all about. And Josh has admitted too. Like he didn't even. He's like, school is like.
Sometimes the most
you don't need school. I didn't go to school either.
People who have that initiative in life always find a way.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Some people who are smart, it helps them. They find a different path. And they get picked up just as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And
they have to work at being smart too, though.
They do because things change.
They bust their
ass.
Life
grows.
Yeah.
You know,
they're the ones that are in the books for 18 hours, and instead, like Josh, he's doing the warehouse for 18 hours.
Yes.
He's sleeping in things. So it's like
hands down hardest worker guy that I would know in my life that moved his way up the chain. That way.
From a warehouse guy to now VP. Yeah, I mean running the studio. It's
to being part of the Potters.
It's
just
or the Mariners or
the Mariners or whatever organization.
Yeah, I'm saying he just went. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Luckily for me, Mr. Eldred, my dad.
Yeah, of course.
Josh. Really big shout out to my friend Aldo. Who's in law enforcement, and I won't speak about where he's at in law enforcement, but he's done remarkable things. In his career, and he's my role model as well.
Right.
I've had such good role models to establish where I am today.
Right. Which again, surrounding yourself with good people is huge.
Exactly.
Right. It's definitely who you associate with that can help tremendously.
It does.
And by surrounding yourself with those people, that's awesome. So we have one more, not one more drink, but a couple extra segments. But I want to go to. So what I did was I just got back from Jamaica, and I'm throwing a rum into the show.
Oh, okay.
So I bought the Appleton Estate, and I thought since I haven't had this one on here, because I do mix up sometimes. I've had a vodka or a tequila every once in a while. Like I had the Rocks Tiermont on there one time.
Okay.
He actually Instagrammed and tagged it, because I posted my interview and stuff.
Oh, wow.
He actually reshared it and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I figured I would at least bring up some Appleton. Now, do you drink rum at all?
You know what? Actually, Anna and I are really big rum heads.
Oh, good.
Because we, besides beer, for me, she really loves tiki drinks, and I love the tiki culture.
Okay.
So, like, there's a tiki bar in Ventura called Ventiki. We actually have in our condo, if you go in, all these tiki bottles.
Right.
Or tiki glasses.
Oh, okay.
All the tiki glasses that we've had over the year. We went to, like, the Anthony Bourdain one in San Francisco.
Really?
I was in one of the academies. And like...
I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, it's like
a culture.
It's like a culture, tiki culture. Right?
Okay.
We're on like even a Facebook site that has it. It's silly. But
Facebook group.
We love the mixed drinks, and we take it off the recipes, and we use all. I have a big rum collection in my house, and we've always mixed the drinks. And
that's cool.
Whiskey's new to me, but rum is not.
Yeah, so you haven't had Appleton though from Jamaica.
I have not. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. It's their own. Now there's a 12, a 25, and a 15.
Oh wow.
The 25 was like $350. This is kind of their everyday signature.
Okay.
Blend, but it's the one they have at the resort as the premier, and then they have the 8 as you can ask for the 8 if you know.
Yeah.
And they usually try to steer you away from that.
Gotcha.
I'm like, come on, man, it's not that expensive. I'm an all inclusive. You better give me one. And they do. I'm just saying.
Gotcha.
For me, I wasn't about to buy an 8-year just to bring home for one time or so.
Cheers to Jamaica.
Yeah, let's try it, man. There you go. Let's see what you think. Especially we have a rum expert in the house.
That's good.
No, it's not spice. It's just a dark rum.
It's just a dark rum.
But this is their lower. This is like their everyday.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
which is still pretty good, is what I mean.
Yeah, I can make a really good drink.
Yeah, especially well, you don't want to mix the high and stuff.
No,
right?
no, you want to do.
You want to kind of.
Yeah.
That's more of a
true.
sipping thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Sometimes
this would be
they
a
float
good
the
drink.
high stuff in it, though.
Yes,
they will
the topper.
on the top, and
Yeah.
it really makes the margarita
Makes it better,
good. I
yeah.
think there's this one called a Baja Tiki,
Oh, okay.
Baja High Tiki, and they float a little alcohol
Yeah.
on top of that drink,
It's
and
the
it's
premium
really
stuff,
they
yeah,
put like a
yeah.
premium liquid.
I always ask for the floater up when I go to the resorts because I'm
Gotcha.
like, you didn't, and I'm like, no, put that on the
just
top.
in case they missed a little bit inside the shake. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, we definitely had some drinking going on there.
I'm sure.
It's like 10 o'clock till 10 at night. It's
Anna and I remember we went to Belize and we had a great time.
Oh, you went to Belize?
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be nice.
on our honeymoon,
Yeah.
we actually landed in Cancun,
Okay.
rented a Jeep from a company, and drove it all the way down to the farthest
Yeah.
you could go in Belize.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
And you just stayed there?
And we stayed in Belize and,
Okay.
and went around, and then we drove all the way back to Cancun and got on the airplane and left.
Wow.
And we saw a lot of, we've always been really, my son's name's Mayan.
Right.
So we're always into the Mayan like culture. Like we
okay.
always like to go to the temples, the
Wow.
cenotes. So we've
That's
done a lot
awesome.
of Mexico and
Yeah,
backpacked and stuff, especially.
Huh. Now, does Anna have Hispanic?
Yeah, her family's from Durango.
Okay.
And stuff. But,
Gotcha.
And Georgie's, I forget where Raphael's from, but
Yeah.
he's also Hispanic.
Okay. So
from
you've
Mexico.
got some Brazilian.
I've got
Obviously,
Brazilian,
half Brazilian, and
half-
she's half Hispanic.
Half Hispanic.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
So
Well,
so there's my
culture.
son, and my son's got a lot of culture in him then. You know, and
Yeah,
it's great.
that's awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your father was
just
a white guy.
yeah, Irishman.
Yeah, I like all
An
white.
Irishman.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing like whiskey.
Yeah, now he's drinking the old Jameson and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
True Irishman.
So I want to talk a little bit about. We'll get to your work. Let's talk about where you're at right now, and then we'll get to a couple closing thoughts that I want to talk
Okay.
about, like your Costa Rica and stuff like
All
that.
right.
So what is it you're currently doing now? Like you said, what'd you call it? You something out.
I promoted.
Promoted
I
out.
took a
Yeah,
test and
yeah.
became a parole agent on the
Okay,
street, and
okay.
it's got the similar mission statement. It's helping people who were incarcerated when they come out, help them get to services and rehabilitate. Yes, there's a time when I'm not just doing the social worker
Sure.
part of the job. I'm actually doing the law enforcement
Right.
end of it.
Okay.
And I'm actually, you know what I mean, and then making sure they follow the rules.
So let me ask you then. So you're still in the same system, correct? The people
Same.
that put you at Pelican
Bay, yeah, it's the same department.
because you were
it's just the
California.
state.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So now you moved to where you live now in Ventura.
Correct.
So did they just say, hey, or did you apply, or did they just say?
I had to apply and take a test to
Okay.
come out with parole, and as soon as I took the test, I think it was like maybe a year. I did an interview. They said I did really well,
Okay.
and from that point, I went to another academy, trained again in Sacramento, and then became the go on the streets.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So now you're a parole officer. Is that correct?
They call them parole agents, but it's
Okay.
very similar to a probation officer on the
Okay.
street. It's
Thank you.
almost an
Because I was like a
identical.
parole officer. Usually I picture behind a desk, but you're a parole agent, so
Agent,
you're
so-
actually go and look for your people and.
Exactly, supervise them in the
Got it.
community. That's the
Wow.
best way to
Okay.
say it. Yeah.
So you're physical.
I'm physical.
Like you have to walk and drive.
I drive a lot. I drive
gotcha.
probably from like LA, Ventura, Simi, Ventura, Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, Ventura.
Are
Like
you assigned your cases?
I'm assigned my cases,
Okay.
so I carry a caseload, and those individuals are pretty much my responsibility.
But in this job, there's not as much physicality.
Different, for sure.
Okay.
It's more of reports and critical thinking
Got
and
it.
stuff.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
things arise and issues and arrests.
Sure.
And happens, but I work with a lot of different entities. I work with law
I was
enforcement
gonna
entities.
say now you're probably working with the police. local
I
police
work
and-
with local police, like
Got it.
all of them,
Okay.
in every jurisdiction, federal to state, and then I'll work with, you know what I mean, counties and social workers, and because a lot of people are trying to go away from what happened to them and
Sure.
go into that right avenue,
Right.
and then
That's where the social worker.
that's where the
comes into
social
play.
worker. That's why they really say
Okay.
my job. You wear two hats.
I
You
gotcha.
know, you're helping people, and, you know what I mean, but you're also making sure they're doing the right thing.
Okay, so that's where I was confused. So I mean, even though I know the names, I've always heard of parole agent or
Yeah,
officer.
it's a very
But I guess in
small-
my mind, social worker is the one that's more behind the desk,
Exactly.
and you're the one that's kind of paroling them or
Yeah, like just
kind of
supervising
patrolling them in
them
a
and
way.
helping guide them
Guide
to
them to
those
that
to that
step.
social
Yeah.
worker at that desk, or to the
right.
issues that they might be having
Correct.
and address
Okay.
it. And
But then the law enforcement comes in if they're still trying to.
yeah,
go the
they're
other
having
way. Got
exactly.
it.
If they're
Okay.
having a problem. Or
Well, no, that's
something that
important
needs
to
be-
know. I didn't
to be
realize the
addressed.
differential. Yeah, that's
and
pretty
it's,
cool.
It's a very interesting job because you really wear two hats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Now is that something you wanted to get into?
You know what? Not at first. I'll be honest. I really wanted to work solely with law enforcement, but now that I've done more of this side of the
Right.
coin, I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy the opportunities I've had from it.
Right.
I've worked with not just like behavioral health departments, but I've also worked everywhere from with the U.S. Marshal, HSI, DEA.
Huh.
Like I've been with organizations
sure.
and stuff like that and helped them as well. And it's just the pendulum is so wide in this job.
Okay.
That you get
once you get in it.
Yeah, you get so much experience and there's so many avenues you can do and tailor yourself in. It's like
okay.
That's really
I was gonna say it sounds interesting because I feel like here you are.
Yeah.
Applying to be in law enforcement, and then most people think law enforcement's police or
of course,
sheriff,
yeah.
And then you end up getting a correctional officer job.
Correct.
You know, for the state of California, and then you're like, now you're a patrol officer. I mean, a parole agent.
Yeah.
Which is like you wouldn't think that would even
exist.
And you studied in criminology.
Exactly.
Which could be also its own thing, correct?
It could be its own thing.
You could have gotten a job in criminology, right?
Exactly. I could have worked for like forensics or something in that realm.
Okay.
But I really wanted to be with people. I'm a people person.
Right.
If you can't tell.
Okay.
Like I like talking. I like to work. I like to problem solve with them. And,
that's awesome.
And that's kind of the avenue that's kind of where I ended up. And now that I'm at it, I actually can see where I'm very successful in it.
Okay.
I'm really happy.
Okay.
And and it's going really well.
Right. Now, is there a future in that? Like, not necessarily for you, but I mean, people will go and just be a 20-year-old, a 30, 40-year parole officer.
Parole agent, it's unlimited, and like there's advancements all in between different parts of the organization you can go into, and really the sky's the limit.
Okay.
Especially with the state because it's such a large entity. It's not like a county or a city municipal where it's just the mayor. You know what I mean? It goes all the way up to the governor's my boss. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can work my way into ABC, so many different law enforcements, or even like DMV, or there's just so much.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, though.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity.
Wow.
I could go back to corrections and be somebody inside just the
Now, could you transition to law enforcement too?
I could. I would have a really successful time right now transitioning into, but I would still have to go to whatever their peace officer standards are at that moment. So I would have to maybe backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
And
not saying that's what you want to do, but I mean you'd have to.
That
you're
window,
in there. It's
that
not
window,
closed.
It's not closed. It's just you get established with something, the money, the income, moving up. It's hard to just
go backwards.
Veer right.
So that necessarily wouldn't take you into like, hey, you're a senior patrol agent.
Yeah.
Parole agent, excuse me. That equals this. You wouldn't be like, you'd have to kind of go back, even though you could transition, you would be starting at the lower level with that new, correct?
Yes. So no matter what, I would have to start at a lower level in almost anything. It's just like any job. Usually, sometimes you can lateral into a certain, but in the non-private sector, it's kind of hard.
That's what I was asking. So for you to transition, it would be in your field now.
Exactly.
Like spread it in whatever that is.
It's so wide, like I couldn't even.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, there's webbing that extends to so many different things.
That's pretty cool.
And that's the good thing. So I mean, I always have but I'm really happy where I'm at. Really, my wife and I really love Ventura.
Okay.
Just the area, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Ventura. I mean, you're in California, and the prime spot of LA. I mean, LA County anyway, right?
Exactly.
Or is Ventura County its own, right?
Ventura.
Or is LA.
No, Ventura County is its own municipal area. It's like its own.
Okay, but it's not LA.
No, it's not LA.
That's what I mean.
It's totally separate.
So it's north of LA, correct?
It's north of LA before Santa Barbara.
Got it. Yeah. So I think we have an office in Ventura. Yeah. So you're kind of about a 3.5 hour drive from here.
Yeah, about a 3.5.
Without traffic.
No traffic, actually. I've made it 2.5. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it can be pretty quick, but
we won't bring that up.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if there is
a Porsche 911.
Yeah. If it was 3 hours, yeah.
Because I've driven to Ventura in the morning.
Oh wow.
It's taking me like 5 hours.
Oh yeah, because of that traffic.
Like I mean, I left there like 6 or 5, and I got there like. I mean, no, I'd say it took me about 4.5. I got there like 9:30 for because we have an office up there.
You can do it a little bit less, but it's just time.
Depends on that traffic,
Yeah, LA traffic, man. LA's traffic is tough.
Yeah. So we're gonna have one more shot, and then we'll wrap up with kind of some other. I've got some really good things I'm gonna bring up for sure. So this one was just brought to me 2 weeks ago. We went to a friend of ours' 21st birthday.
Okay.
And the mom, who's my wife's dearest friend, so she's got like 4 Wine Wednesday girls. she goes, "Hey, I've been meaning to give you this bottle of whiskey because I bought it and I don't drink whiskey. But I
Right.
thought of you when I did." Her daughter like follows my show. It's kind of funny. The 21-year-old.
Gotcha.
So it's called the Old Fashioned. So it's actually by Buffalo Trace, which
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with that whiskey.
I've heard of it.
Oh,
yes.
that's right. You're not the
Yeah, I'm not the
You're learning the
aficionado
whiskey.
of it. I'm still
You should
kind
probably
of,
have an Old Fashioned with Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Because it's actually probably the better. It's not top shelf, but it's in between.
Gotcha.
But it's a great Old Fashioned whiskey. So what they did was they created one called Old Fashioned.
Okay.
So it's almost an Old Fashioned pre-made in a bottle.
Oh,
Old
wow.
Fashioned's got bitters and orange peel and
Yes, I've had
simple
them a
syrup
couple
and things
times.
like that. So this is kind of it doesn't taste just like it. I'm just saying it's their version of how to bottle an Old Fashioned. Yeah, super
Okay.
good.
Cheers.
And now that our ice cubes melted, you're getting the warmer side.
I'm getting the warmer side a little bit, but
Yeah.
I like it. It's
You
not
taste
too
a hint of orange, right?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
not too strong.
Oh, no,
it's
it's
just
not.
it's just perfect.
It's definitely not an old fashioned if you made it at home.
Gotcha.
But I appreciate them putting it in the bottle to say, hey, we're not going to guarantee you an old fashioned because I'm not going to put simple syrup and all that. But it's got the orange bitters,
Yeah.
or the orange and the bitters and things like that. So it's actually pretty solid. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, right. This is awesome.
Hey, I get free bottles of whiskey just for having
This
a
is
show.
that's cool. That's awesome.
It's fun.
I'm happy that I got to support you. In
Yeah,
this.
it's awesome. I'm just glad you're on here. So I want to go into one last thing. So other than your career and your amazing family, and let's talk real brief. How old is your son now?
My son's 4 years
4,
old. His
okay.
name's Mayan.
Okay. He's a cute little blonde hair
He's a
kid.
cute little he's got
He
like
was
dusty
blonde, right?
Yeah, blonde. It kind of became more like dusty, a little
Right,
bit
but I
darker.
mean,
and
earlier I
stuff.
was like, where did he come from?
I think
'Cause Anna's
it's
a
just
dark
like
hair.
my aunts. Some of them have
Okay.
like lighter hair, and Anna's side has some people have a little bit
Okay.
lighter hair.
Okay.
Like Georgie's sister Becky. I think he got that kind of trait.
Okay.
So, no
At
male
first,
man issue.
But now
or
it's
something.
no. But I may believe me, my boys had literally blonde, surf blonde hair when they were born.
Yeah.
Until about 3, and now look at them. They're just more like dirty blondes,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
brownish blonde. It's a trip how it changes. But I mean, when I saw him in early pictures, I'm like, dude,
He's
got
a blonde,
blonde
right?
hair.
I know.
Yeah, where'd that come from? So how's it been being a father?
Man, it is. It's challenging some days.
Mhm.
It's not easy coming
Sure.
home from work. But the best parts are just having him like light up
Yeah.
and do fun things like go to Disneyland, teach him something he hasn't known. Like like I said, I love martial arts, so holding pads for him.
Okay.
I have mitts at home.
Oh, really?
And just sitting with
That's cute.
him, and he loves it. And he has a lot of energy. If you ever meet
Yeah.
him, and I hope you do soon enough. He's got a lot of energy, and you can tell he's the kind of kid. Even the football, he'll just run laps.
Oh, I got you.
And he just wants it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
And he
awesome.
wants that contact and that physicalness.
Oh,
and
good.
it's fun.
Yeah.
So, like, we'll hold pads for him and give mom a break.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We'll go have dinner. And then he's like, oh, can we, like, I don't know, jump off the couch 1,000 times and
Oh,
catch
right.
me? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
those
yeah.
little
Yeah,
stuff.
just throwing- yeah.
Throwing you up.
Yeah,
and
believe
stuff.
me, boy twins. I mean, we've always been active. I mean, ever since baseball at 5, all the way through soccer, basketball. I coached them all, and like you said, wrestling and getting beat up by them, and kicked in the balls. I mean, like 'cause they think it's funny. Or
Yeah,
they
I
don't
know, but
They
yeah.
don't know any different. They're just like,
Yes.
God, and you're
Yeah.
like, that is not where you.
I'm
want
sure
to
that
be.
happened in karate sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying, like, believe me, 2 boys. And I'm not saying it's hard enough for 1. I'm just saying, like, I get it, and
Oh,
it's just
hats
such
off.
a physical job.
it is.
It is a physical job
Yes.
being a father. And I had a daughter first who was also, wanted to play and throw up in the air. And it's
Yeah.
just being a father or a mother is a physical thing. So you got a physical job.
Yeah.
I get you're driving around, you're not out there,
no,
building hammers and stuff,
but
nailing
it's
things.
still
but it's-
physical and taking my time, and then
and draining.
and draining, of course.
Yeah.
And then you come home, and then you have someone that has a lot of energy,
Yes.
and he needs it out too.
Exactly.
And your wife wants you to get it out, and like you're like, okay, let me switch.
Let me
that.
take a
Let me
Red Bull or something.
I do. Yeah, I'll need it sometimes, and drink that extra cup of coffee. And, let's have some fun, man.
Right,
and
right.
Stuff.
But
And-
those are the years you're gonna look back at, just like
Yes.
all of us fathers, and say, I wouldn't have traded for anything.
and that's what
5 hours of sleep,
I
hard work. Yeah.
he woke me up at 7 this morning. We stayed out a little later last
Yeah.
night with friends, and this morning he wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, just wrestle with me. You know what I mean? Oh, he always says, would you be Hulk?
Oh, okay.
You be Hulk and I'll be Venom from
Okay,
the
just to
Spider-Man.
fight.
And I just want to, like, wrestle.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you definitely got a guy that you've been training for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
And
definitely
his
gonna be like that.
imagination's amazing.
Yeah,
so,
that's
you know what I
awesome.
mean?
That's
It's fun.
awesome. So tell me a little bit about your. You say you have a dream to live in Costa Rica someday.
I do.
Or you and Anna, I guess.
Anna,
yeah.
of course. And she's what brings it all together is actually our family. Becky and Aaron, who are my sister, my wife's other sister.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they own a lot of property down there.
Oh, okay.
And you know, they offered us a piece of property to buy at one point, and we took up on it from.
Why did I get the email?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ken. They still have others.
We want to live in Jamaica, and I'd go to Costa Rica.
It's beautiful and stuff. And it's a little area that hasn't been developed yet,
Okay.
so the real estate on it's really good for the future. It's that kind of thing. They're building an airstrip for it, so you can actually land in San Jose.
It's the future. Yeah.
It's the future. Anna taught English there. This April, we're going, it'll probably be I think it's my 5th and her 8th trip or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Awesome.
Like, we've really put our time in the country. And George and Josh been there a couple times. Becky and Aaron has been there probably more times than I know of.
Got it.
And we got that little property. We're right next door to Becky and Aaron. And my dream would be to build a retirement little thing. And in my 50s, just go there for 6 months, 7 months. It's very affordable to live, and it's fun and it's exciting and it's the kind of place where you can really unplug.
Yeah.
The U.S. is just so busy these days. There's just, you know what I mean?
Preaching to the choir, brother.
It's just so busy. Yeah. It just doesn't stop. Electronics and things. And I'm from the millennial generation, but to be honest with you, I relate better with.
I don't see you being like a Mr. Tweeter. And
yeah,
all that
exactly.
Stuff.
I don't have Instagram. I don't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't know you, I probably wouldn't even know about this show to help sponsor and be part of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And come together with it. So what I'm saying is, with Costa Rica, it's our dream. We're
still young.
Exactly. We have so much time to invest in it, but I want that goal to be there because it'd be awesome.
Hey, it's a good time now to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, to put that money away and plan, and we have those things in the works with Becky and Aaron, and I really look forward to that segment
That's awesome.
of my life.
No, because I mean,
I don't want to rush it though. I'm getting older now, and I notice sometimes thinking too far ahead.
Right.
You're like, oh, wait. You thought that far ahead, but you need to enjoy this middle.
You need to think now.
You need to be in the middle, because the middle's great.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm having the time of my life right now.
Yeah, you don't look so far ahead where you're like, man, I can't wait to retire, and all of a sudden, that's like when you say to the kids, I can't wait till they're 18, and they're only like 7. Yes. And then you don't, and you're only working towards, like, oh, thank God he's at school, but you're like, shit, I didn't take the time when they were 7 to 18.
Exactly. When they're 18, you're like, oh my God. Yeah. I remember that year, and if I could actually stop myself. And so a lot of times when we go to Costa Rica with Mayan, like this will be his 3rd trip. Okay. He went as a little baby. I'll never forget it. And I remember a little casita we were staying at. I was overlooking the ocean. Right. And I was holding him, and I just was like, I'm going to take this moment in. Right. Because I'm not going to get this moment again. Right. And now every time I hang out with him and go on those trips to Costa Rica or wherever we go, I tell myself, if I take that deep breath, I'm like, I'm not going to have this moment. Right. It's going to be a moment again of something, but I'm not going to have this moment. Particular moment. So I need to be all in this moment. Right. And that's like the clearest I'll ever feel. Yeah, that's the best. That's 100% true. I mean, you never get it back. Time is the only thing that you never get back. Yep. But, I appreciate that you were on the show and you were able to describe that. Actually, I thought your story was like one of the best. I mean, like you really were able to go in detail because you're a young guy. And we don't get a lot of younger guys on the show. We do. I mean, but only like a handful, right? Yeah. Most of them have been in their late 40s or early 40s and 50s, and I know you're not that far from that, but you still have and you've accomplished so much, is what I'm saying. Like, in such a period of time, you've been able to work hard to establish, especially the elder part. I mean, that's insane. Like, being someplace 7 years to train and kind of grow with something that, was a family of yours, a second family, in essence. A lot of people aren't that young that start that and go, I was able to actually go from 18 to 25 in this little family, and then also have the chance to, like you said, Mr. Elder taking care of you and everything. It's been amazing. Yeah. Yep. And my friend Aldo, like I said, and just all the role models, my father, my mother, just everybody was somebody for that segment of my life. Sure. You were teaching you. Oh, right. You know what I mean? And being that, like you said, excited to spar with me. And those are moments that help you grow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Seeing you have a family makes me think like, wow. You saw you saw me as a dad bringing my 3 little kids in. That must be so exciting. That must. I mean, I'm sure it's stressful, but at the same time, it's like so exciting that you guys are all doing this as a family. Yes. And Mila would come and watch every damn episode. I mean, she would watch everything. She was never not there. Yes, she was. Yeah. She was a very involved mom. I give my hats off to moms, man. You guys put work in that us dads never
You imagine, yeah,
imagine,
exactly.
even from the beginning to the end. It
Yeah,
just,
that's
I
great.
know. And so I inspire myself from every person that I touch, I meet, I do, and you're one of those. So I'm happy to be on your show, and I'm glad I got to taste and do it all.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for bringing the beer.
No worries. Cheers.
Thank you guys for watching the show tonight, and we'll definitely sign off for Mark Flynn. And like I said, like, subscribe, and thanks again for being a part of it, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
No worries, bro.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
See ya.